whose name we're seeing here, actually worked there in Lahaina, not in Kapiolani. When we look at the name of the registrar who signed the birth certificate for Nordyke twins, it's a different registrar. You would expect the same registrar. Next, what Mr. Papa did, analyzed this document, and he filed an affidavit. This is what was provided to the public. And what he found out, and a lot of a lot of citizens found out the same thing, when you open this document in Adobe Illustrator, you can see layers and layers and layers. If it would have been a certified copy of a document, it would have been one layer, not multiple layers. And you can see also whiteout. It's just shocking how sloppy this forgery is. You can see whiteout everywhere. For example, you can see here only number 1, so you can see that they took the numbers from different documents. Next, you can see the signature. You can see here Stanley and D. Now, and then it's all whited out. What we believe might have happened there is that they might have, well, we understand that they used different documents. They compiled information from different documents and created this forgery. So one of the documents that we believe they used was a birth certificate for his sister Maya Soetoro. When Maya was born, Ann Dunham signed documents as Stanley and D. Soetoro, or Stanley E. Dunham Soetoro. And you can actually, when you look at the whiteout, you can see here, that's how it probably was, Stanley N, and you can see it probably was Dunham. This was H. Dunham Soetoro. So they deleted the rest, Dunham Soetoro, Anam Soetoro, and then put Obama, and that's how they came up with Stanley N. D. Obama, Dunham Obama. Next, what we see in this document, so that's from Mr. Papa. Next, another document, it's really damning evidence that's coming from yet another expert, and that's Mr. Paul Irie in Florida. Mr. Irie was working in the field of typography, of typesetting for 50 years, all his life. And what he provided, oh, 1 second. So what he did, he just took, for example, the word student, and he showed that in this document you can see letters that came from different typesetting. For example, multiple examples of letter T.
Who's this expert who did this?
His name is Paul Irie. He is currently in Florida. He used to live, I believe, in New Jersey, and he worked all his life in the area of typesetting. He was a typesetter, so he knows different types of letters, and you can see it really well. For example, look at letter A. You can see this is wide, much wider, sort of medium size, and this is much more narrow. It's impossible to have one document where you would have the same letter A that is in different typesetting. Here's number 40, and there are numbers assigned to each type of typesetting. This is 144, 146, 203. Look at letter S. Again, one is bigger, one is smaller. Look at letter N. This is completely different. This N different from this one. So he showed that it's a clear forgery. And here he even submitted it to court, made a T-shirt where he's saying why there are different letters and numbers in Obama's birth certificate, because it's a forgery. It's easy to see. Look at number 2. You can see one is bigger and wider than another. Look at the letter E. You can see it's different.
Now, which court was this submitted to?
I submitted it in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. It's in front of the Chief Judge, Judge Lambert, who, you know, somebody who has guts. He decided against the government before in a CIA case, but whether he'll have guts to go against current establishment, that remains to be seen. Next, I
But
have...
Judge Lambert gave you standing in this case.
Yes, I have standing, but he can still dismiss it. What worries me is that I filed a motion. It was a Vaughan motion. And what it says, this motion says that the government, even if they don't want to release a document, they have to keep all the documents available, not destroy anything, and they have to let the court know what documents they have, and then argue whether they should release those documents or not, but they have to open their cards and let us know what they have. And what concerns me is that Judge Lambert has ruled on a motion by the government within 1 week, very quickly. But then this motion that I filed was over 2 weeks ago. So far, there is no decision by Judge Lambert, and that kind of worries me. Next, there is an affidavit from Mr. Doug Vaught, and Mr. Vaught was he's an expert. He's been selling actually scanners to government, multiple state and federal governments. In his affidavit, he shows again just irrefutable, undeniable evidence of forgery. He shows, look at this date. You can see not just different typesettings, but different colors. When you look at this stamp, now there are different, when a document is printed, it can be in gray color and black colors, sometimes kind of sort of a greenish color, and also the numbers and letters can be in color, can be in grayscale, can be binary. And he's saying there is a mishmash. It's impossible for there to be a document where, see, August 8, 1961, and you can see part of it is in gray and part of it is in black. Clear forgery. Here, if you look at the word Barack, same thing. Letter R is in gray, the rest is in black. Also, he is showing that when a document is printed from something that is bound in a book, and you see how it's sloping here, everything would be sloping down. But on the other hand, if it's a forgery, then you would see what you see in this document. When you look at the word Kapiolani, it's not really sloping, it's a straight line, when the other ones are sloping, and you would have to see it sloping the same way everywhere. So bottom line, from multiple experts, I provided evidence that there is forgery in this document. Another interesting fact that I was able to uncover is that there is a sign of forgery in the application for Social Security number by Stanley Ann Dunham, his mother. What it is, you can see that she used a form that was created in 1965, application form, but supposedly it was signed in 1959. Well, there is no way for somebody to sign in 1959 a form that was created in 1965, unless this woman invented a time machine. That probably would be the only explanation. So we have criminal conspiracy. We have the most serious, most egregious crimes committed against the people of this nation. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of corruption in our government, in our Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office, among our elected officials, our congressmen, some judges, and that's what allowed this to go on for so long. So I hope that each and every citizen stands up and I'm asking every citizen, please bring those documents to town hall meetings. And when you come to the town hall meeting, just be smart about it. Don't tell them in advance that you want to talk about forgery in Obama's birth certificate and his stolen Social Security number. Just tell something that they want to hear. If it's a town hall meeting by a Republican congressman or senator, tell them you want to talk about Obamacare or big debt. That's what they want to talk about. If it's a Democrat, liberal Democrat, I don't know, put I love Obama t-shirt and cap and appear there. But when they call on you, take out those documents and stick them in front of the camera, in the face of this congressman, senator, or presidential candidate, and demand answers. And don't ask them if he's going to do it. Don't even give them any wiggling space. Tell them when when will you do your job and stop aiding and abetting this forgery and fraud on American people? When will you publicly demand removal of Obama from office due to crimes committed, fraud, Social Security fraud, elections fraud, forgery of documents, and have him criminally prosecuted, prosecuting everybody who is associated with him and those crimes? And if you, as an elected official or candidate for office, if you are refusing to be true to your oath of office and refusing to act with some decency, then when will you pack your bags and leave office? You either need to do your job, and this is the most important job you have to do today. We have a criminal in the White House with a forged birth certificate and stolen Social Security card. You either do your job and demand immediate removal of Barack Hussein Obama out of office in his criminal prosecution, or you will be tried. You either take the stand and demand that he is tried, or sooner or later you will be tried as an accomplice to all the crimes that he is committing. And please, I need each and every citizen to start doing it just in their face. Remember Alinsky's technique that they used against us, law-abiding citizens, against us, and we are real civil rights leaders, because this is the most precious right for us not to be treated as slaves, for us to be treated as citizens that have rights, that have a right to have a law-abiding government. And right now we don't have it. We have de facto criminal enterprise taking over the nation. So please do it.
Well, there you have it from attorney and Dr. Orly TAITZ. She's thrown down the gauntlet. I know for a fact she asked U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts before Obama was sworn into office up in the University of Idaho. And that's now been over 3 years. She had filed her case, and it has been stalled first by Judge John Carter, and now it sits with a 3-judge in the 9th District Federal Appellate Court, a different case, not the case she's talking about here with Judge Lambert in Washington, D.C., but that other case. 3 years have gone by. You would think this would have gone to the top of the list of things that have to be decided, whether the president is legally president or not. Well, that's my report from Orange County, California. I'm William Wagner. Stay tuned. Check out the other videos. Go back and look at that one in September of 2009, labeled Obama's Real Kenyan Birth Certificate. The reason why I want you to look at it is not to just review what was said then, but notice ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, CNN, none of the national media were there covering a historic event where I personally witnessed 2 courtrooms packed out to have that first initial hearing where attorney Orly TAITZ made her presentation, and Judge James Carter said, Judge David O. Carter said, this will be heard by a federal jury in January of 2010. And here we are, June of 2011. And I'm wondering if this Villamore, who suddenly moved in as personal clerk of Judge David O. Carter, had some undue illegal influence when by October, David O. Carter, the federal 9th District judge in Santa Ana, had a change of mood. And he was no longer talking about having a trial in January of 2010, and said he would make a decision between 1 day and 1 year. And then later in November, he said, dismissed. Well, only thing we know happened is this Villamore, a lawyer of some unknown law school out of Europe, Slovakia or some small country, suddenly had been hired by a law firm defending Obama. And then he suddenly gets moved in between September and October. He's moved into place to be the personal law clerk for Judge David O. Carter.